I wasn't taking anyone lightly, but I also didn't expect to get the challenge that I did.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with an update of the mutant Nick Walker. So he is backing off everything from intense training from the PEDs for a few weeks before he shifts the gear for this upcoming Mr. Olympia prep. But I'm sure his training intensity would still be more intense than most of the guys out there. Because the thing is, these professional bodybuilders, they have a different mindset and a different perspective towards the pain thresholds. I mean, this is what these guys are paid to do. That is their job. So I came across this short clip from his latest YouTube video, which was kind of a wrap-up after this year's New York Pro, where he commented on the competition, specifically Martin-Fitzwater, the guy who placed second behind him, the man who pushed him harder than anyone in the recent times, and something that was totally unexpected, not just by us, but by Nick Walker as well. So Nick did give props to Martin for bringing his A-game, but he stated that he will make sure that the next time these guys face each other, he will do everything in his power to make sure that it isn't even close between him and Martin.
So shout out to all the competitors that brought it. You know, Stu looked great, Tonio looked great, and you can't deny Martin. You know, Martin brought his A game, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. But I'll be sure for Olympia to make sure it's nowhere near that close again.
No, Nick Walker is supposed to say that. Of course, he isn't gonna say that Martin is gonna be on par with him, because he believes that he can win the Olympia. And I think if he places outside of the top 3, that would be a huge loss for him, especially in his own mind. Because the only way forward for him is upwards, so that he can fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming Mr. Olympia one day. But here is another fact. After this year's New York Pro, and the way that show was so close between him and Martin, not many people are willing to put their money on Nick Walker, even as a title contender for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. Now he has got a lot of ground to cover. He has got lots of work to do. Most importantly, his waist needs to go down, especially the way it was back in 2021, the time when he won his first ever New York Pro. And the reason is the improvements that he was able to make in his legs, especially in his quad sweep from the front. Those improvements were not exactly evident, because the point was to enhance the rack frame, to enhance the V-taper. But with a thicker waist now, that kinda negated that. So Nick Walker needs to take care of that in order to showcase the improvements that he has been able to make in his quads. So people keep saying that Nick Walker is a top 3 guy in the world. But I have to say, in all honesty, he got beat by Samson Dauda at the Orange Classic 2023. And by that metric, he has to go through Samson Dauda first, before he gets to Derek, and of course Hadi Chuban. But I am very sure that he will fight up more than ever for this upcoming Mr. Olympia. The guy is one of the most regimented guy out there. He is a real hard worker, and Steve Weinberger compared him to Jay Cutler, because Jay Cutler too did not have the best shape out there. But guess what? He was always laser focused. His goal was to win the Olympia at any cost. And guess what? He was able to be the greatest of all time, Ronnie Coleman, eventually. So talking about the New York Pro, I have to say that was a huge win for Martin-Fitzwater, even though he wasn't able to win that show. But still, his stocks absolutely skyrocketed afterwards. He did not feel any pressure going into that show, because he was already qualified by winning Detroit Pro. And Martin showed up even better than that, and his conditioning was absolutely top-notch. Even Tal Mannion said that that was one of the best bodybuilding peaks that he has ever seen in the history of the sport. And that is a huge compliment. So that runner-up spot at the New York Pro, that made Martin so much more relevant in the men's open bodybuilding. Now Martin right now is taking a break from everything. So he says his goal for this year's Mr. Olympia, which is gonna be his debut, is to crack that top 6, is to be in the first call out. And that I have to say is very ambitious. So Martin is most probably gonna be a little bigger at this year's Mr. Olympia. His goal is to add like 3 or 4 pounds, and that is very realistic. And he's gonna make sure that he keeps all his beautiful and aesthetic lines in check. And if he's able to duplicate that same shredded look at this upcoming Mr. Olympia, he's gonna be very dangerous. I believe he is 100% gonna be in the top 10, based on what we saw at the New York Pro. And it is safe to say that the year that he took off, that really paid off big time. Next up, we have the update of the Egyptian tank, Hassan Mustafa, 10 days out of his next competition, which is gonna be Toronto Pro. So, not only Hassan is doing this upcoming Toronto Pro, he also announced that he's gonna be doing Vancouver Pro as well, which is happening in 6 weeks' time. So that means him and John Jewett, they're gonna have a rematch in 6 weeks' time at that show. So, Chris Aceto stated that Hassan Mustafa is one of the most difficult guys to peak right. He mentioned that he was one of the most difficult athletes that he ever worked with. Getting him shredded was the hardest thing to do. Now his former coach AJ Sims kinda disagreed with that, because I have to say he was the only one who was able to bring Hassan in absolutely peeled to the bone kinda conditioning. Now his current coach Dorian Hamilton said that Hassan is the most unique athlete that he has ever worked with. So let's hope that these guys figure it out, and Dorian can actually figure out Hassan's body. Because as of right now, Hassan does look really impressive. But the thing is, we have not seen his lower half just yet, especially his hamstrings and the glutes, because that is the area where he struggles the most to get truly shredded. But still, I have to say he is an extremely impressive bodybuilder, one of the most muscular guy overall out there. And the kind of freak factor that he's able to bring to the stage, that is also top notch. Personally, I think Akeem Williams is gonna be extremely hard to beat here at this show. But if Hassan Mustafa is as good as he was last year at this same show, I believe he is definitely gonna be up there fighting for the top spots. But do let me know what you guys think. Can Hassan win this show? Can he beat guys like Quinton Beastboard and Akeem Williams? So talking about Quinton Beastboard, he's posting all these throwbacks from years ago, and that just signifies one thing. It was a total miscalculation on his coach's part, Matt Jensen. Even Quinton himself says that his squads were looking bigger and better, even back in 2020, 4 years ago, compared to how they looked at this past New York Pro. Now, Matt Jensen is one of the best coach of the current times, but if we don't call it as it is, that is gonna be kinda unfair. He missed his mark by a long shot with Quinton. He was unable to figure out his physique. Quinton was neither in a good condition, nor did he look more muscular, and if you are in Quinton's shoes, you would be absolutely furious, you would be mad, because he did everything that was told to him by his coach. I mean, the guy went up to 320 pounds on the stage, but he was unable to showcase all the muscle that he was able to pack on when it was time to step on the stage. So that must have been really frustrating. So right now, Quinton is trying to fill up little by little. He has cut back on his cardio, plus he is now eating almost double the amount of food that he was eating in the last 2 weeks leading into this year's New York Pro. So one thing is definitely certain. He is going to be bigger and rounder in Toronto Pro compared to the New York Pro. But the thing is, we aren't really sure at this point whether he will be able to bring his legs back to life, whether he's going to be able to bring that pop back to his legs, because it seems like that is the area which suffered the most, especially in the last couple of weeks when he was in prep for the New York Pro. So do let me know what you guys think. Can he win Toronto Pro this year against guys like Akeem Williams and Hassan Mustafa? Now, let's talk about another guy who has had a fairly disappointing season so far, Budesheim. He placed 8th at California Pro this year, and that wasn't what he was looking for at all. But that is now in the past, and Tim is now looking to bring an even better package at this upcoming Toronto Pro in 10 days. Now, he is looking really ripped, but the fact is he doesn't have the best shape out there. Plus, he needs to work on a lot in his back department. So at this point, I'm not really sure what Tim needs to do in order to win his first pro show and get to the Olympia stage. I mean, this guy has been competing as a professional for as long as Regan Grimes actually, and also Rafael Brandao as well. I believe he made his pro debut back in 2017. So I guess the only thing Tim needs to do is to continue to show up in all these shows, take advantage of the rebound, and hope that some of these guys coming off in 1 or 2 of these shows. Now he clearly has a lot of muscle, and his conditioning was extremely impressive both at the New York Pro as well as California Pro. But I feel like his back is also holding him back big time. So Cali Pro was more of a disappointment, because we were expecting him to beat a guy like Emir, who doesn't have the best shape, but the thing is Emir outclassed a lot of these guys with his truly grainy kind of conditioning, and he totally deserved that. So how high can Tim place at this upcoming Toronto Pro? What does he need to do in order to crack top 3? Which, by the way, isn't gonna be easy, because we have a fierce competition at the show as well. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.